Am I the astronaut for not planning anything for Father's Day after my husband ruined my first Mother's Day? I am 98.7% sure that I am not the asshole here, but if I'm wrong, I'm willing to admit it and learn from my mistakes. Our little boy will be 1 later this summer, so this was the first Mother's Day and Father's Day for both me and my husband. My husband asked what I wanted for Mother's Day. I didn't want or need anything big or expensive. What I asked for is for husband to get up with the little guy and get him fed while I pumped and chilled. Breakfast in bed, just toast, scrambled eggs, and coffee. For us to take the little guy to the zoo for the first time. This was the main thing I was looking forward to. Going to my favorite taco place for dinner. Thoughts on that list? Just the list alone.
I feel like she just wants a day that's about their family.
Yeah.
That's what I get. I don't get like this is too much. You would have no problem if this was the list that I asked for.
Not at all. Between morning and afternoon naps, we have about 4 hours of awake time. The zoo is about 30 minutes away, so I had figured if we left as soon as he got up from his nap and ate, we'd have a couple of hours at the zoo, and worst case, he could sleep in the car on the way home. We took my mom and my mother-in-law out to brunch the prior weekend to celebrate them, his mom on a Saturday and my mom on a Sunday. I also got them each a thoughtful little present and flowers to celebrate their first Mother's Day as grandparents. I arranged everything and I told my mom and mother-in-law that we'd be celebrating on the actual day with just our little family, and sent them a group chat which included husband, my dad, and father-in-law, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. My mother-in-law is very pushy and overbearing, so I didn't want there to be any surprises or confusion. The Saturday before Mother's Day, father-in-law sent my husband a text with a picture of all the mulch he just had delivered and said something like, "Gonna be a busy weekend," or something like that. Apparently, he had 300 bags of mulch. They have a big yard with lots of flower beds. That night, my mother-in-law called my husband and asked him to come over first thing in the morning to help his dad move the bags of mulch to where they were going to be used. She said since we weren't going to the zoo until after the little guy's nap, that husband could go over and help for a couple of hours and then come pick us up and go to the zoo. I was obviously not happy, but she guilted him and said father-in-law was going to end up hurting himself if he moved all that by himself, and that it's not a big deal and should only take an hour or two. I told him his mom was doing this to try to get us to skip our plans and spend the day with them, but he kept saying it's not a big deal. Oof. That's not the thing to say. I think most people know what happened. Husband went over first thing, which means no breakfast in bed, and I had to get up and feed the little guy. I was kind of pissed, but whatever. I spent time with the little guy. When he went down for his morning nap, I texted my husband to let him know he should start wrapping things up. Then when the little guy woke up 2 hours later, I called my husband to tell him I'd be ready to go as soon as I finished feeding the little guy. He told me it was taking longer than expected, but that he would hurry. Like an hour and a half later, my husband called and said they weren't done, but he was getting ready to come home. It's a 15 to 20 minute drive from mother-in-law and father-in-law's house. At that point, we had missed the window to make it to the zoo, so I told him to just stay there and finish and not worry about Mother's Day since he hadn't done a single thing I asked for. I don't think there was any doubt in his mind how pissed I was. A little later, his mom called and said since we decided not to go to the zoo, that me and the little guy should go hang out with her while the boys finished with the mulch.
Just like she thought. That's like exactly what she said was going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah, she called it. She clocked that in the very beginning. I admit that I was pretty pissy, and I told her I had no interest in spending time with the people who decided to ruin my first Mother's Day. I ended up staying home and ordering a pizza and binging Netflix. When husband got home, he was all apologetic and asked how he could make it up. I was still pissed and told him he could make it up by not ruining my first Mother's Day. I also told him he should plan on spending Father's Day with his mom and dad because me and the little guy were going to go celebrate Father's Day with my mom and dad. Since Mother's Day, mother-in-law has been texting and calling, but I've been keeping conversations short and just giving her very bland, generic responses. My husband has been apologizing and asking what he can do, but honestly, I don't want to bother. I know it's just a day and we can celebrate anytime like we did with my mom and mother-in-law, but it was my first ever Mother's Day. And it's not like I asked for anything expensive or difficult. The only thing is, he's incapable of setting boundaries with his mom, and she's incapable of considering anyone's feelings but her own. This past Saturday, he asked if I was still going to my parents', then said he'd like to go with us. I told him he could do whatever he wanted, but since I hadn't done anything for his dad, he might want to go see him or something. We did both end up going to my parents and spending the day with them. It was actually a nice day. My dad insisted on grilling because of course he did, but the weather ended up being nice and we spent a lot of time hanging out on their deck playing with the little guy. I'm not sure what, if anything, my husband did for his dad. I know he was getting a lot of texts during the day, I assume from his mom. She did send a snippy text saying it was hurtful to spend the day with my family at the expense of husbands, but I told her she got to spend Mother's Day with her baby boy, so it's only fair that I spend Father's Day with my family. I know my husband was hurt that we didn't acknowledge him for Father's Day, but I told him while we were driving to my parents' house that I'm just matching his energy. I admit that I haven't done anything to de-escalate the drama, but I'm still just so hurt that he continues to prioritize his mom's feelings over our little family. This isn't the first time his mom has done crap like this, and I'm just so tired of it. She always oversteps and insists on doing what she wants. I'm doing better at keeping her at arm's length and holding my own boundaries, but my husband is absolutely incapable of it. There's the problem. Top comment here, your husband has clearly decided having a pissed off wife is preferable to having a pissed off mother. The very first time he knew his dad had bought 300 bags of mulch, holy F, does he own Rhode Island or something? Your husband should have said, wish I could help you, but we have plans for Mother's Day. When his mom said it would only take an hour or two, he should have responded, our plans are all day. The mulch could have waited.
I have no tolerance for not protecting your family. And I mean, you should have protected it from your own mother, because she did what she did on purpose. She knew about the plans. You already celebrated Mother's Day with her in advance so that your wife could have these plans with your family. And you let yourself get played, and you played right into it, and you never prioritized your family. It's not even like just your wife, just the fact that she asked for family time with you specifically, and you just threw it all away to set out mulch that could have happened the next weekend.
No,
and if he wasn't willing to wait, then that's on him.
He threw it away to make his mother happy. And I think that's what we need to address here. Someone needs to say to this dude, listen. You have failed as a husband. You have failed as a father. You have to examine the control that your mother has on you, because that control is making you fail at becoming, or at being, a husband and a father. If what she is doing to you is making you fail at those things, do you think it's a positive or a negative impact on your life? Is it an abuse of control? Yeah, it is. So end it or lessen it. Create a fucking boundary. She is controlling you because she can. She is proving it over and over and over again. And for some reason, you're not getting the message. And I get it. It's because your entire fucking life has been like this. You're being played over and over and over again. You're her puppet. You started a new family, though. That's the moment you have to cut the strings. You don't get to be the puppet anymore. You have to lead this family, and you cannot lead this family if you are still the puppet in another. Be the husband you want to be. Be the father you want to be. And you cannot do it while she is controlling you, so make that stop. Got it? Good.
That's my man.
Also,
I am so proud. I am so proud. Like, I was just like, yes, that's my man. That's what I think. This is the standard that I will hold my future son-in-laws to for our daughters, because I know I will never overstep. I will never be this mother-in-law, because I don't want this for our children. I want them to have lives. Like, as much as it hurts to watch your babies grow up, it would hurt so much more to know that I was the reason that a marriage didn't work, or the reason they have issues with their kids. I would never want to overstep, because I would never want to be the reason for the pain in their lives. And this mom, the mother-in-laws that act like this do not care. They only prioritize themselves. They only prioritize how they feel. And until you say no more and cut that off and stop, it's going to wreak havoc on your marriage, and it's going to wreak havoc, like you said, on your ability to show up and be the parent that you want to be. And I really, really hope that this guy wakes the fuck up. And I'm going to be, this is not just about ruining her first Mother's Day. This is the accumulation of everything that has happened up to this point with mother-in-law.
It was the mulch that broke the camel's back.
There you go.